Hi, I'm Neil Beck. I was a doctor in Perth, Western Australia for 53 years, mostly a family GP in the suburbs. And in the early days, because we hadn't had a medical school, we had to do all sorts of things that specialists now do. I helped to bring 800 babies into the world, treated lots of tummy and chest and head things, did lots of appendectomies, tonsillectomies and so on, and had 500,000 consultations, home and hospital visits. The conclusion I came to was that there are no perfect mums, no perfect dads, no perfect families, and no perfect homes or streets or communities, and that everyone in childhood had some suffering and some mental health harm, and that what helped people most to have a good life was mental health. But there were many people with mental health problems, and there was never enough mental health helpers to help all the people who needed help. What is mental health? Mental health is mostly having good feelings, normal warming feelings, good thinking and good habits. What I came to the conclusion, the 7 most important things in life are, first of all, mental health. In a developed country there's plenty of almost everything, and if you've got mental health you'll get what you need. But if you have mental health disorders, you may not be able to get very important things. So mental health was number 1. Secondly, good relationships. People with good relationships were so much better than people who didn't have good relationships. Thirdly, we need high endorphins chemistry. Our brain and glands produce over 20 chemicals called endorphins, which stands for endogenous morphines. And endogenous morphines are nature's way of killing pain and reducing stress. And it's very important to have high endorphins chemistry. The fourth thing is it's very important to have a healthy immune system. People who had low endorphins, which manage the immune system, have a weak immune system, and the immune system fights infections, allergies, inflammation, autoimmune diseases and cancers. And if the immune system is weak, people got sick and died younger. The sixth important thing was good physical health, and good physical health depended on having a high endorphins, a strong immune system, and on living a natural, healthy life. The sixth most important thing was to have a good home. Having a good home is so helpful, and not having a good home is such a problem. And the seventh thing, of course, was good employment, good work. Because it was clear that there was never going to be enough mental health helpers for all the people who needed mental health help, I reached the conclusion that humanity's greatest need today is fast, very effective, convenient, free mental self-help tools. People, if there's not enough helpers, people have to help themselves. To do that, they need tools. Today we have tools for everything. A long time ago when I was a boy, the tools were pretty weak. In the kitchen we had a big tin dish that we washed our knives and forks and cups and saucers in, and we had a wood stove that we had to light in the morning and keep putting wood on to boil the billy and cook our food. But now the kitchen's full of tools: refrigerators, gas, electricity, dishwasher, electric knives, grinders and mixers. Everywhere there's good tools. In modern factories, incredibly good tools that do incredible work. But the tools in mental health were weak. There are only two tools and they both had great weaknesses. One tool was medicine, but so many medicines were addictive and the medicines were too slow. When you swallow a tablet or capsule, it takes half an hour or an hour to go right down your gut and start to get absorbed into your bloodstream and start to work, and 1 to 2 hours to work strongly, and that's just too slow when you've got mental suffering or you're trying to ward off craving for some addictive substance. And the other weakness of the other main tool is talk therapy, counseling, psychotherapy, CBT, whatever you like to call it, but basically talking. And talking has two big weaknesses. One is it's too slow. With a new patient with mental health and addiction problems, you need an hour, and that's just too slow to find out what their problems were, the probable causes, the best treatments, to explain to them and to get them started. And that talk therapy is too slow, and talk therapy is too costly. To be a therapist, you have to have at least a 4-year Bachelor of Psychology or a Master's or a PhD. To be a psychiatrist takes 10 or 12 years of training. So those people, the therapists, have to be paid very well. So talk therapy is too slow and costs too much. So 22 years ago, during a heroin epidemic, I started to work in an addiction clinic 10 hours a week. And I wanted to know what caused addictions. And I went to all the addiction clinics in Perth and Sydney and asked and couldn't find a single worker who could tell me what caused addictions. And then one day in the clinic where I was working 10 hours a week, I saw 15 heroin addicts and 5 of them had ADD, ADHD. And when I talked to them carefully about their history, it was apparent that they had the ADD, ADHD since childhood, and that it was very distressing. They had troubled childhoods, they had trouble at school, they left school early with a poor education, and then they had trouble getting work. Trouble with unemployment or poor employment, and so the cause of a third of heroin addiction was ADD, ADHD. And then when I looked carefully and talked to people about their life before they became addicts and how they came to start to take addictive substances and became addicts or alcoholics, and I found that there were 11 main mental health disorders that caused 95% of addictions. 19 out of 20 addicts, the addiction was caused by mental health suffering and distress when people didn't get proper mental health care. The commonest problem was worry, anxiety disorders. There was social anxiety, general anxiety, panic attacks, phobias, all sorts of phobias, obsessive compulsive disorder. And another very common problem was sleep disorders, great problems going to sleep or waking up too early or waking up during the night. Early on I had a patient who hung himself because he couldn't sleep. He told me he could only sleep about 6 hours a week, and he just got so exhausted and confused and unhappy that in the end he hung himself. So anxiety, worry disorders, sleep disorders, major depression, then bipolar disorder, sometimes high, sometimes very low, then ADD, ADHD, poor focusing and concentration, and great impulsiveness, which caused people to make wrong decisions, and do things that cause trouble. Then there was post-traumatic stress disorder, and then there was post-traumatic evil focus. That is, when something terrible happened to people that they couldn't cope with, so they avoided that problem by focusing on faraway problems like the CIA or conspiracy theories. And then there was schizophrenia, and then there was autism, and then there was crashed self-esteem, people with very low self-esteem and very low confidence. And the conclusion I reached was that because there was never going to be enough mental health workers to help all people that had mental health problems, people needed to be able to help themselves, and to do that they needed to have good tools. The tools needed to be effective, and they needed to be simple and easy that people could use themselves. My first tool about 15 years ago was a 10-minute video. And that 10-minute video on mental health got 10,000 viewings in 9 months, which was very good. So I made many more 10-minute videos, but slowly over the years people stopped watching long videos, and I found that they were all watching 1-minute TikTok videos. So now I've got 83 under a minute videos that cover every aspect of mental health and addiction, every mental health want and need and solution. The next tool was websites. My main website was mentalhealthvideosa2z.com, mentalhealthvideosa2z.com, and at that site you can find the 83 under a minute videos. But that was a longish website, and just as people wanted very short videos, they wanted shorter websites. So now my main website is smilefixit.com, smilefixit.com, and at smilefixit.com everything is on one page, but you can tap links to whatever is of interest to you. You don't have to plough through page after page after page to find what you're looking for. It's all there on one page with a link, and you just tap on the things that are of interest to you. The third tool was or is the Mental Fix-It app. The Mental Fix-It app. I got so busy I couldn't cope with all of the people with addictions desperately needing help. So I made a 20-question checklist, and one of my assistants did the checklist with people when they first came, so that with the checklist report in 10 or 15 minutes I could do what had previously taken me half or 3/4 of an hour. But checklists are cumbersome. They're a great advance on nothing, but eventually we realized that what was best was an app. But apps took a lot of work, and they were very costly. But 18 months ago we managed to make our app, the Mental Fix-It app. But the Mental Fix-It app was too long. It was 38 questions that took 10 minutes for you to tap your choice of answers to the 38 questions, and 10 minutes was too long. Very troubled people didn't have a long enough attention span, so we reduced it to 19 questions which they could do in 5 minutes, but even that was too long. So now we've reduced the Android version to a 2-minute mental fix-it app, and soon we will have the iPhone version reduced to 2 minutes as well. That means that in a few seconds you can go on your phone and tap the Google Play or the App Store button and download in a few seconds the Mental Fix-It app, and then in a few minutes you can answer all the questions. You get an instant report, and the instant report tells you 4 things that you need to know. First of all, it tells you which 6 of our 83 under-a-minute videos to watch to help you with your particular problems, because different people have different problems. And if there are 83 videos, which do you watch? It takes too long to go through them all, but now you can do the Mental Fix-It app, and in a few minutes it tells you which 6 of our 83 under-a-minutes videos will help you most. It also tells you which medicines are likely to help you most. The app Instant Report also gives you a list of all your problems in descending order of importance. As you tap each answer to a question, indicating that it's a problem for you, that item gets a score depending on how important that item is and how severe you've got it. So all the items that are a problem for you get a score, and the Mental Fix-It app program lists all of those items in order, the highest scoring first down to the lowest scoring. And the app also gives you a graph of total scores, because each time you do the app, which you should do often, it adds the scores of all the items that you've indicated are a problem. It adds their scores together to get a total score, and it puts that total score in a graph, and you can see what's happening to your graph. Is your total score graph getting better? If it's getting better quickly, that's great. It means you're on very good treatment. If it's getting better slowly, maybe you need to improve the treatment or increase the treatment. If it's not getting better, if the graph is not getting better, then that means the treatment you're taking is not working and you have to find other treatment. The fourth tool is live streaming. This is what I'm doing now, live streaming, because I found not only do people want very short under-a-minute videos and an app, they also want they also love scrolling. TikTok only started 9 years ago, and yet today it has over a billion viewers every month. People love to go to TikTok and scroll. They race through all that information. Why do they love doing that? I did a ChatGPT search, and ChatGPT said that first of all, scrolling through lots and lots of information seems to lift people's mood. It makes them happier. It gives them a little lift. Secondly, it triggers their imagination. They find all sorts of things, discover all sorts of things, which triggers their imagination and their creativity. And thirdly, of course, scrolling is addictive. So they love live streaming. So now I do live streaming on mental health and addiction on Wednesday, Friday and Saturday nights Perth time, 7 p.m. Perth time, and on Sunday mornings 9 a.m. Perth time. The fifth tool is powder medicine. My powder medicines overcome the two weaknesses of the usual medicines. None of them are addictive. I never use anything addictive. There's non-addictive medicines for everything, for every mental health disorder and every addiction. So it overcomes that problem, and it overcomes the slowness problem, because if you drop powder medicine on your tongue and don't swallow it, you suck it and absorb it through your tongue, it starts to work in 5 minutes. And your tongue is pink or red because the blood vessels are so close to the surface, and if you drop thousands of tiny grains of powder medicine on your tongue and suck it, it gets into the circulation in 5 minutes and starts working, and is working strongly in 10 to 15 minutes. And it's even better than that, because after a couple of weeks your body develops what we call taste conditioning. It connects getting the medicine taste with getting better. It connects the medicine taste with helping the problem, and then powder medicine dropped on the tongue and sucked starts to work in seconds. As soon as you taste it, you start to get better. The sixth tool is a pocket powder medicine dispensers. Having powder medicine in a jar with a little scoop was a bit cumbersome and sometimes not very accurate, but I designed and had pocket dispensers made, so now you have your correct powder medicine in a dispenser in your pocket, and anytime, anywhere, when a mental health distress starts or an addiction craving starts, you can whiz it out and drop the powder on your tongue, and it starts to work in seconds once the taste conditioning has started. And that's a wonderful help in relieving people's distress and in helping them to reduce and eventually stop taking addictive substances. The seventh tool is heartbeat meditation aid. Meditation is so valuable, so helpful for people with mental health and addiction problems. What is meditation? In meditation, you take a rest, you take a break from all your worries and stresses and strains by focusing on your breathing or focusing on repeating a word. You repeat the word again and again and again, or you focus on breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, and that allows you to forget your troubles, to relax and to rest and to feel better, and it improves the epigenetic functioning of your brain. So meditation is very valuable, but the problem is that the people with the worst problems have great difficulty learning to meditate, because it's hard to stop thinking about their problems, and focusing on breathing or a word is not very attention grabbing. But listening to your heart, which your heart beats are loud and strong and clear and interesting. So a few years ago I started to cut stethoscopes short, so you can now pop the stethoscope in your ears. That's the listening part, and you can listen to your heart, and listening to your loud, clear heartbeats is a much stronger way to learn to meditate. And once you've learnt to meditate with the heartbeat meditation aid, then you can meditate with your breathing, which is the best, because your breathing is strongly connected to your emotions. And if you want a heartbeat meditation aid, we can send you one for $25 plus postage anywhere in the world. just email us at healthestuff@gmail.com, healthestuff@gmail.com, and we can send you one. The eighth tool is another pocket powder medicine dispenser, but it's a bigger dispenser that gives a much bigger amount of powder. The powder it contains is fruit powder. And why do we do that? People love the taste of fruit powder, and it's becoming popular all over the world, and there are big companies now making fruit powder, all sorts of fruit powders, and you can go online and buy whatever fruit powders you like. I buy mine in Coles supermarket, and they've only got 3, and my favourite's vanilla and chocolate. But what happens is that we've got an epidemic of obesity and diabetes because people love sugar, and the food and drink manufacturers love sugar because it's so cheap, it's so easy to store, to transport, to work with, and people love the taste, and sugar is as addictive as cocaine. You might find that hard to believe. I found it hard to believe, but when I Google searched it, I found that cane sugar is as addictive as cocaine. So they put sugar in everything, and that's what causes the epidemic of obesity and diabetes. But when you get the urge to have chocolate or lollies or biscuits or cakes or drinks full of sugar, instead you can whiz out your pocket dispenser of fruit powder and drop it on your tongue and have a lovely taste. So fruit powder is a harmless alternative to sugary things. It's a harmless alternative to tobacco smoking. And also it helps you to make and break habits, because habits are a very important part of our mental health. Our brain is so busy that it can't do everything consciously. It just doesn't have enough capacity to do everything that we do and that happens in us consciously. So anything we repeat often, it turns into an automatic unconscious habit, and we just do it without our brain having to think about it or manage it or control it. So nearly 2/3 of our life, 60 to 65% of our life, is habits. And we start to make habits as soon as we're born, and we make habits for all sorts of things. But as we grow and our life and the world changes, some of the habits become a problem, and we need to make new habits. When we go to school, we need to have new habits. When we start work, we have to have new habits. So making new habits is very important, and breaking some old habits is very important. And some of those habits are hard to make or hard to break. If you want to make an exercise habit, or you want to make a study habit, or you want to make learning a language, or playing a musical instrument, or making things, doing things into a habit, that can be difficult and take too long. But if every time you do something that you want to turn into a habit, you drop some lovely tasting fruit powder on your tongue and have a lovely taste, and you do that every time you do the thing you're trying to make into a habit, the lovely taste makes it much easier for you to do the new habit more often, and the more often you do it, the quicker it becomes a habit. So lovely fruit powder taste helps to make habits. It also helps to break habits. How do you break a habit? How do you stop something that has become automatic and unconscious, and that you just do without thinking, and which is difficult to stop doing it? Well, what you have to do is you have to weaken the underlying triggers and messages, because everything that happens because of triggers in your brain or triggers in some part of your body, and messages, electrical messages that flow from the trigger in your brain or wherever it is to the muscle or whatever part of your body that does the habit. And those triggers have got strong and automatic and hard to stop because they've been done over and over again. Or the chemical triggers, hormones, chemicals that flow in your brain and your tissues and your blood, and they've got strong and easily triggered. And if they're damaging and harmful, like eating too much, eating high sugar foods and drinking high sugar drinks, or smoking tobacco, or whatever the habit is, sexaholism, or anger, or worry, breaking the habits. What you have to do is you have to weaken the triggers and weaken the electrical and chemical messages. And how do you do that? How do you weaken them and eventually stop them? You do that by, first of all, delaying them. You delay doing them, and secondly, you do less of them. And that weakens the triggers and the underlying electrical and chemical messages, and they get weaker and weaker and weaker until eventually you can quit, you can stop. So every time you go to do the habit that you want to stop, have a lovely taste, fruit powder instead. So you're thinking of eating chocolate, or eating lollies, or eating biscuits, or eating cake, or smoking cigarettes. When you think about doing it, you quickly whiz the fruit powder dispenser out of your pocket, drop the fruit powder on your tongue, and have a lovely taste, and focus on the taste. Think about the taste. Don't think about the habit you're trying to break. And as the taste fades, have another taste and focus on it, and then have another taste and focus on it, and avoid the habit for 15 minutes. Avoid the lolly water drink, avoid the cake or the chocolate, or avoid the tobacco for 15 minutes, and then have a bit less. You have to have it, but you have a bit less, and delaying and having less weakens it. You only have half a biscuit and throw the other half of a biscuit in the bin. You have 3/4 of a cigarette and throw the last quarter of the cigarette in the bin. And that weakens your trigger and habit a bit. And when they're a bit weaker, you can delay things longer and you can do less of them. So you delay, do less, delay, do less, delay, do less, until eventually the triggers are weak enough, and the habit, you're doing so little of the habit that you can quit or you can stop. So the eighth tool is fruit powder in pocket dispensers. We've got 100 of these dispensers made to try out, and we're still working on that. and they'll be available in a month or two. They're being made in China. The ninth tool I call Phone Treasure, and Phone Treasure is like fruit powder. You've always got your phone in your pocket, and what we want to do is to make a package of lovely things that you can have on your phone that you love so much that when you want to have a little lift, a little pleasure, whiz it out and look at something you love or listen to something you love on your phone. Or if you want to make a habit, every time you think about doing the habit and do it, whiz it out and have some pleasure from some phone treasure. Or if you want to delay and do less of a habit, every time you think of doing it, whiz your phone out and have some phone treasure and delay and do a bit less of the habit you want to break. So lovely photos of your grandchildren or your pet or your garden or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your mum or your dad or your children, things you love, your new car, whatever, beautiful rivers, beautiful mountains, things to look at on your phone that you love, that make you happy, that help you to deal with mental distress and to deal with addiction, craving, or things you love to listen to, music, or someone talking, a favourite speaker on a favourite subject or favourite music, phone treasure. So I was starting to do that, and then my 10th tool fascinated me so much that I haven't finished the phone treasure yet, but I'll do that again in a couple of months when I get time. But the 10th tool is so exciting. The 10th tool I call Scroll Plus. Scroll Plus. Because what I realized was that so many people love scrolling. And then I realized that I've got to put the mental health and addiction stuff into scrollable form. And that's what I've done. I've finished doing it, and now the technical people are putting it up as a Scroll Plus ebook and Scroll Plus Scroll. So what is it? It's 92 mental health and addiction wants, needs and solutions. 92 mental health and addiction wants, needs and solutions. So each has got a one-line title, and you can race through those 92 titles. You can scroll them in 5 or 6 minutes, and every time you come to one that's of interest, because most of them are not of interest, only a few are of interest to you, every time you come to one that's of interest to you, you can instantly tap on a 6 to 16 second video which gives you some information about that thing. So you come across anxiety, you've got an anxiety problem, tap the instant video, and it's got a 12-second video on anxiety. You're scrolling and you come across cocaine, and you've got a cocaine problem, so you instantly tap the 6 to 16 video on cocaine, and you get some information on that, and you see very fast but informative 6 to 16 second videos that give you some information about items that are important for you, the causes, the nature of them and the treatment of them. And when you've done enough, it's best to do the whole 92 if you can, but if your attention span is very short, whenever you want, you suddenly press the enough button, and when you press the Scroll Plus enough button, it immediately gives you the list of links to the videos that were important enough for you to watch. So suddenly you've got 4, 6, 8, however many videos you tapped on, and you can watch them all again and again and again as many times as you want. And each of those 6 to 16 second videos is connected to a 1 minute video, has a link to one or more 1 minute videos, and that gives you more information about that particular problem, the nature of it, the causes of it, the treatments for it, how to weaken it and overcome it. So, Scroll Plus. Scroll the whole of mental health and addiction, 92 items, 92 wants, needs and solutions in 5 or 6 minutes, or as many as you've got time for, and then press the enough button, and then you can watch the videos again, the 6 to 16 second videos, and then you can watch the 1 minute videos they're linked to, and they are also linked to our Mental Fixer app, which is a 2-minute app on Android, and will soon be, is now a 5-minute app on iPhone, but will soon be a 2-minute iPhone app. And that app Instant Report gives you the 6 of our under a minute videos that will help you most. So there you are. I believe that the most important thing in life is to be mentally healthy. If you've got mental health, you can get everything else. If you haven't got mental health, you're going to have a bad life. Your second most important thing is building good relationships. If you've got mental health, you can build good relationships. If you've got bad mental health, you're going to have some bad relationships. Because there are no perfect mums, no perfect dads, no perfect families, everybody has some mental health trauma in childhood and has some mental health harm which needs to be helped. And the tools that they need to be able to do self-help, because never going to be enough people, mental health and addiction workers, to help everybody that needs help. So they need to do self-help, and the self-help tools have to be through the things that everybody's familiar with and can go fast. So that's the smartphone in your pocket. It's scrolling, it's live streaming, it's powder medicine and fruit powders in pocket dispensers. It's heartbeat meditation aid, phone treasure. Okay, so I'm very busy, and today is Sunday. We do live streaming 9 a.m. per time Sunday. I'll be back again Wednesday, Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. per time, and we do it on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, Instagram and Facebook. So thank you for watching. Please send me any comments, questions, criticisms that you have. I want to hear as much feedback as I can get, but I can't talk to people because there's usually 1,000 viewers each time. But I always respond to the emails. The email to contact me on is spelt the way it sounds, healthestuff@gmail, healthestuff@gmail, and you can find healthestuff@gmail at smilefixer.com, at smilefixer.com. So thank you, bye.